What's up, fam? Coach Cam, and in this video, I want to discuss some things I've been learning while eating in a calorie deficit that I did not think of the last time. So, last time I cut was 2 years ago, summer of 2023. I went on a cut, and at first, I weighed 190 pounds. I was a big boy. If you know, I am 5'7", so that was quite large for me. However, I thought, oh, I'm so huge and it's so much muscle that really I'll cut down to like maybe 175 and I'll just be jacked and shredded. Not even close. I ended up cutting all the way down to 159 pounds or so. And I cut that time for 15 weeks and lost 30 pounds. And what I did that time was I also did not track calories. I did go for some planned walks on most days of the week. Um, this time I'm not doing any particular walks or anything like that. I'm just going through my normal work schedule, which is firefighting and cleaning pools. Both can be very physical. And then I'm not tracking calories, but I can kind of tell based on my hunger cues and based on what I eat in a day how to eat less in order to lose weight. And so far, I have lost 14 pounds since the end of April. So it's been 3 months. Yes, 3 months. So it's taken me a little bit longer. It's a little bit slower of a journey, but there's some things I've learned along the way that have really taught me lessons about losing weight. So first things first is you have to be essentially carb depleted in order to lose fat. So what this means is you're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel smaller, and perhaps even weaker in the moments that you are in a significant deficit, which ends up being right when you wake up in the morning, right? Because we all fast as we are asleep. So when you wake up in the morning, that's when you want to weigh yourself. So hop over to the scale and weigh yourself, and see what the lowest weight is you can put in for that day. Obviously, during the day, your weight's going to go up because you're going to eat some food, drink some water. So your weight's going to be a few pounds heavier during the day. But don't worry about that. All you need to do is take weekly averages. Take daily weigh-ins if you have a scale accessible every single day, and then write it down and take weekly averages, and you want that average to be trending down over time by a half a pound to 2 pounds per week. Mine have been closer to like 1 pound per week this time. So basically you have to feel flat, you have to feel that skinny, weak type of feeling in order to help the process along, right? If you're always carved up, you're always full on food, you're not in a deficit, like you're eating too many calories. So you have to cut enough calories that you actually feel lighter and thinner, and it's not very comfortable, right? It's hard. A lot of people will go into a calorie deficit and then after a few weeks they quit because they're like, oh, I'm so small, I feel so small. Well, you have to keep going, right? Keep going through that, and you have to keep training. And that brings me to my second point I want to make, which is when it comes to training in a calorie deficit, you need to fuel for your workouts. You need to carb up for your workouts. Do not think you're going to walk into the gym having eaten like only a banana and you think you're going to hit some PRs in the gym. It's not going to happen, right? And that's a lot of people when they say they've lost strength when they cut. A lot of times that's because they are not fueling properly for their workouts and they're going in to the workout in a deficit. I avoided this at all costs. So I typically work out around 6 or 8 p.m. in the evenings. So what I do is I eat pretty similar all day long. I eat pretty similar foods if I can, and that way I am fueled for the workout. Now, usually I'm out cleaning pools, it's out in the hot sun, so I drink Gatorade, electrolytes, I eat my food, um, And then I make sure that, especially leading into the workout, I'm not feeling weak and tired and flat. So make sure that if that's you, that is a good reason why your strength is going down. You're not fueling enough for your workouts. And then maybe after the workout, you eat a little something, but you don't eat too much. It depends how many days a week you work out. I work out like 2 or 3 days a week, like not all the time, right? So maybe 3 days, we'll say. Um, so on the days off, I can eat less. But on the day of the workout, like I need to fuel for the workout. Like I'm not gonna show up, carb depleted for a workout. So you gotta play your cards right, which means train, prepare for the workout and train as hard as possible. And you shouldn't lose strength for a while. I did lose some strength, so what my deadlift was up to 315. It was like a Romanian deadlift, 315 for 8, I think. And now it's like 295 for 8. So it went down a little bit. Um, but a lot of those times that you see sharp drops in performance is due to you didn't carb up enough. You still should be getting a pump in your workouts. You're not going to get a pump all the rest of the time, but you should be getting one during the workouts. So that's a huge one. And then another one I learned, which I just started doing this week, was taking creatine. So I've never taken creatine in my life. However, just started this week, and I can tell that that's definitely something that my muscles were missing. Um, it's a small difference. Obviously, I'm only taking the 5 grams a day, but my muscles feel more full throughout the day and during the workouts than before. Obviously eating the same, right? My muscles are just more filled out. Um, Even when I was training legs, like my upper body felt like full, and I think obviously that's due to the water retention and whatnot. But it just, a lot of people don't realize this. Muscles are made of water, so like it's kind of hard to separate. Oh, if you have more water in your muscle, do you have more muscle? It's like sort of. So anyway, it feels like a good thing. It feels like something that's helped me have better energy, um, better recovery, and just feeling a little bit more full. So I like the creatine so far. I've been taking it each day. And I've also read that if you take it after the workout, it might be received even better than just any other time, because obviously your body's depleted and kind of drawing in nutrients. So take that. If you want to take it after your workout, do that. But that has been something that's been really cool for me to experience. Also, I've learned that with cutting, you might get a new low like once a week. Like it might not be every single day. It's so easy to think, oh, I'm gonna lose weight and I'm gonna get a new low every single day. Well, maybe at first, but there's gonna come a point where you're not getting them every single day because of your eating, right? You're eating a little bit more to replenish and recover from some of the workouts. Um, maybe you had a stressful day. Maybe your sleep was terrible, which that's another thing that I have to battle all the time is my sleep is constantly something I'm trying to improve at, because obviously when I'm at the fire station, the tones can go off and then I'll have a call and it could be 11 p.m., 1 a.m., 3 a.m., like who knows, right? I could have multiple calls in one night. I could have 3 calls in one night. You know what I mean? So you just never know. And then when I'm at home, either it could be a peaceful night or the babies could wake up screaming. So like I have reasons that my sleep may never be 100%. And I have to deal with that and I have to overcome that. And there's days that I go to work out and I'm like, I don't feel amazing, but I need to get this in. I've been training more frequently, which that's another tip I'm going to throw in here just because I feel like it's helped me. Now, obviously, if you're training super frequently, then you can't do anything about that. But I used to train maybe 3 times in 2 weeks, but now I'm training closer to like every other day. And then after maybe 3 workouts, I will take like 2 days off or something like that. But anyway, it's closer to every other day. I've been doing an upper lower split, so Say I did upper Monday, Wednesday lower, Thursday upper, Sunday lower, Tuesday upper, Thursday lower. Like pretty much just every other day. And if I feel too exhausted, I can bump it back like a day. But overall, I think increasing my frequency a little bit and my exercise selection, I've done basically 2 to sometimes 3 exercises per muscle group. Only 3 if it's like compound presses, you know what I mean? Or like compound like pulling type exercises. But I've basically upped my volume essentially a little bit in my workouts and the frequency a little bit, which I feel potentially I've built muscle while being in this deficit, which is crazy. You know, you hear about that sometimes on the internet. It doesn't sound real, but I would venture to say that I might have actually built muscle with this deficit, which would be a first for me, you know. And I know the haters are all on here like, oh, it's just you had so much uh, fat and stuff, like you didn't have that much muscle underneath. And I'm like, look, everybody underestimates how much fat they have and overestimates how much muscle they have. Everybody does this. You know, there's people, men and women, that are weighing, you know, 160, 70, 80, 90, 200 pounds, 220 pounds. And they think like, oh, you know, I'm maybe 20 pounds off from looking awesome. You might be more than 20 pounds off. You might be like 30, 40, 50 pounds away from looking amazing. So everybody overestimates how much muscle they probably have and how they underestimate how much fat they have. So make sure you account for an extra 10 pounds when you go to lose weight, because you very well may be going there, right? You know, I started this at 171, down to 157 is some of my lowest days now. But I still want to cut another like 5 pounds. I think I'm 5 pounds away to looking really good, you know? I'm not going on stage or anything like that, but I'm just doing this for me. And, you know, I haven't cut in 2 years, so this time, you know what I mean? So I can't wait till the bulk. I'm planning on starting a bulk like around September, and again, training every other day and pushing for progress on my workouts, you know, pushing for recovery, obviously taking creatine. And obviously the last 2 years, my weight went up, but not by much. It went up by like 12 pounds or so. I want to go higher, you know, I want to go closer to like 180. I've done 180, I've done 190. I don't think I really want to go over 190 because that was pretty chubby. But maybe if I bulk to like 180, 185, then it might be time to come back down. Anyway, essentially that is what I've learned during this cut. I've been constantly pushing for strength improvements, but just know that your goal in the gym is to stimulate the muscle for growth. And if you have to lower the weight by 10 pounds, then do it. If you have to lower it by 20 pounds, it's not the end of the world. As long as you are training to failure and training as hard as you can, that is the stimulus on the muscles, right? It's training them in their function with resistance until they cannot complete another rep, until you have to stop the exercise because the muscle is completely recruited and fatigued. If you're doing that, your muscle doesn't know exactly how much weight you're using. So and I'll say this, when it comes to cutting and lifting weights and trying to keep your strength levels up, strength numbers up, what used to be a hard, heavy set of 6 to 8 reps, when you're cutting and you've lost 10 pounds or so, that becomes ego lifting. Like the weight you used to use for hard-working sets can become ego lifting really fast. So you have to make sure, is this an exercise I want to keep pushing that weight and really strive to stress it, you know? Or can I knock it back 10 pounds, 20 pounds, and still do the movement, get the exercise, get the muscles involved, and train them to failure while sparing your ego and actually getting a few extra reps. Don't forget, you don't have to stay in that 6 rep range or something like that. You can go up to 12, some exercises I'm even, if I hit 15, I'm definitely adding weight, but I have hit 15 recently on a couple exercises. So um, just play it by ear. But essentially, you want to train as hard as you can, fuel for your workouts, and then create a deficit on all the other times that are available to you. So the days you're not training, maybe in the evenings or after the workout, or maybe it's in the mornings for you. Maybe you wake up and you're like, let me just not eat yet, kind of push it back. So those are things that I play around with. I don't track calories. Obviously, if you're like a fitness influencer, you track your calories, you dial everything in, then sure, you can just have the perfectly planned cooked meals like all throughout the day, track all the calories, and you'll still be in a deficit. But for me, I need to like carb up and fuel up before the workout, and then if there's no workout in sight, then I'm not really stressing too much about food. I might slide some meals back or skip some of the food I had planned and weigh myself and see what happens, basically. So like I said, I'm only getting a new low like once a week now, but I'm still tracking the averages, and the averages are still dropping, even if it's by only like half a pound, right? So obviously my stress level in my life is pretty high right now, which interferes with it a little bit. Obviously, if I was just a single guy living in an apartment, working, like I could work out and track things better and fuel better, but I'm doing the best with what I have, and it's been working good. I just want to lose a few more pounds. Summer will be over, and it'll be time to increase calories just to push that surplus a little bit harder, right? And I've watched a ton of content on people talking about, do you actually need to bulk to gain muscle, stuff like that. And it's like, obviously you don't have to, but I think if you're trying to take your body to a place that it's never been before and would never naturally go, then I think that the calories need to support that goal, right? Same thing if somebody's super overweight and they want to lose weight, their calories need to support that goal, especially if it's taking them to a physique that they would never normally have obtained. It might take more extreme measures to get to a more extreme result, you know what I mean? So that's just my take on it, but ultimately, this next year I'm looking forward to building muscle, making progress in the gym. I think I got my exercise selection really dialed in my garage gym. So I actually have kind of an upper day, an A routine and an upper B routine. And I like the exercises I'm doing. Give me just enough variety while still being able to progress. Leg day is still looking pretty much the same, but I need to progress on my, split squat style exercise that you probably see me do. I need to get my Romanian deadlift way up. Like, let me lift in the 400s or something. That'd be insane. And obviously, I can improve my quad extension, hamstring curl, calf raises, all of it. You know what I mean? So, looking for progress any chance I can get it, and we are aiming for the moon. And if I don't reach the moon, maybe I'll land amongst the stars. So we'll see. But thanks guys so much for watching. Coach Cam, it's been a pleasure, and I will catch you guys in the next one. I'll be uploading shorts of all of the exercises in this video so you can see them one by one, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.